We'll probably have to readjust the mic. Tough gig in the morning.
Is you want it lower than that?
Something don't, yeah, it's just like it should be some more angle towards his head, but that's cool. We're gonna go. It's nice and loud and echoey. Let's get him. Just making sure I got the right frame rate on this shit, so I don't want to have this shit sinking. It's not even on the right frame rate.
I understand. Take your time. I love a professional.
Trying to get it right.
Man.
Trying to get it right.
Shooting with the homies.
Let me stop this for a second.
One hand more. Yeah.
Tuff, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna start with I can't. Yeah. Joe, he looks a little hot. Turn it down a little bit. That looks good. I finally got Tuff. It's the first one.
Let's go.
You know what I mean? We 2 hours late out this bitch.
Yeah.
2 hours late.
We ain't late, because this is 55 years in the making.
Mm-hmm.
We've been preparing for this for a long time. I know some of y'all don't hit 55 yet, so double nickel.
Focus, right? You want it?
You just out of focus.
There's one button I cut it off. If you decide to move something, just check to make sure he's not moving when you.
He's not moving up though.
All right. And you, Joe, before you start moving, you just make sure he's locked in.
All right.
How that audio sound?
Sounds good.
Tuff, what you have for breakfast this morning?
I had French toast sticks, turkey bacon, a cup of coffee, a bottle of water. Oh, and a banana.
Excellent. All right, do me a favor today. We got Tuffy today, Americo Questell. Tuffy, introduce yourself. Let me know. Tell me about yourself. Who you are. Tell me who you are and where you from. Let's start from there.
My name is Tuffy Questell. I am from the Bronx.
His chin draw. Start again.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
It's all good.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is he looking? You looking towards me? Look at me.
Yeah, sorry. You're right. I did look at the camera. You just realized I did that.
All right, why are you looking at me, Tuff? I just want to make sure that that part is where I need it to be. I don't want to get this far and then rush it, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck it up. I really appreciate you, man.
Love is love, baby.
That looks good, bro. More of his back end. Look at me, Tuff. This how you gonna do it?
Yes, sir.
How do we do it? Yeah. You gotta give his jaw space, bro. You got too much head.
That's what niggas like to hear.
Nah, that's too much, Joe. You know what I mean?
That's too much?
All right, tell me one more time. You can start again.
Introduction.
Yeah, introduction. Tell me who you are. where you're from, and then I'm going to say, tell me about where you grew up.
Yes, sir. What's up? My name is Tuffy Questell. I'm from the Bronx. I am the host with the most chillest kid you ever meet, which is Tuffy. Some people call me Americo Questell Jr. Very few, but those who do know me well.
Americo Questell. Where'd you grow up, Tuff?
I grew up in the Soundview section of the Bronx. If it was a crime, in the Lafayette Island plantation. If you're from the hood, I'm LIP till I die. Lafayette Island is Lafayette Morrison houses. We in the Soundview section of the Bronx between Soundview and Hunters Point. I am a Bronx boy through and through. Bronx boy through and through.
Folks from Puerto Rico?
My mother is from the South, from Lord have mercy, Reedsville, Georgia, and my dad is from Puerto Rico via Dominican Republic. So I am BDP, 1, 2, 3. My family is BDP. Yes, Black Dominican and Puerto Rico.
I bet your mommy was Latina.
A lot of people think that because she's so light and my dad is so brown, but he's the Latino and she is straight black from the hood of Georgia.
Where did you go to elementary school?
Wow, elementary school was PS 93. I went to Bronx schools until high school. And I even went to Stevenson. I actually failed a class in high school so I could go to Stevenson for summer school so I could say I went there once.
Nice.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were in public school, elementary school, what they call it, in the IGC program. And it seemed like a lot of children in the IGC program had musical talent or acting talent. Did you know that that's what you wanted to do? Did you start singing and acting at that program?
The IGC program, intellectually gifted children. It was hilarious. And you know, people like Cedric's not that gifted, but nah, I'm kidding, Ced, if you see this. Yes, I knew that singing and acting was what I wanted to do. I never thought I'd be a host. Although, you know, you watch television shows and you watch things like back then, you know, Flip Wilson's show, or you think maybe I could do that. I could be funny, but then I wanted to be an actor more than anything, and singing mattered to me. My parents sang, my sister sang, so we sang as a family all my life. So yeah, singing back then, back in IGC, back in 5th grade, 4th grade, I sang in every talent show and in every play. Mr. Wilkoff. Man, I remember going back even further. My 3rd grade teacher was Mrs. Whitland. She made me sing every day.
Mrs. Whitland, I remember Mrs. Whitland.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so from elementary school, when you were singing in 5th grade, your siblings were singing already?
Yes.
Tell me about your siblings.
My oldest sister's name is Cheryl. She is, she's a Taurus like me, and we're both crazy, very creative people. My sister Tracy is the smart one, the thinker. She's the middle child. She's the psychologist with the degrees to prove it. Our creatives work in different ways, but yeah, back then we sang to give you a body of the work. My mom sings like Gladys Knight. My dad sings like Johnny Mathis. My sister Cheryl sings like Cheryl Lynn or Natalie Cole. And my sister Tracy sang like Denise Williams. She had that high soprano voice. And that's what it was. And I was Luther and Stevie, because that's the music I listened to and loved. So that's what I did.
That's dope.
Even at that age.
I really want to get into video music box. There's some other things I wanted to cover before that, but I had so many questions like that were, wrapped around video music box. When you were hosting, first of all, why don't you tell us about video music box?
Video Music Box was a blessing. My sister Cheryl worked at WPIX, and she worked with 2 producers, Ralph McDaniels and Lionel Martin. Ralph had just started Video Music Box. It wasn't on 2 years. when he invited Cheryl and I to some events, and then we did a music video with him. When he saw what I could do casting wise, he was like, yo, you should really keep doing that. But back then we weren't called casting directors, people of color, we were called talent coordinators, so they could pay us less. So Video Music Box happened because I threw a birthday party for myself. And Ralph McDaniels brought his brother Brian. Brian was underage. Ralph couldn't get him in on the juice of his face and his reputation. So Ralph was like, tough, I gotta take Brian back home. I'm gonna just leave the camera crew with you, just interview your friends, and we'll work it out. I was like, okay. So he left. Heavy D was there, Pete Rock was there, Salt and Pepper were there. It was just, we were at a place called, oh my God, it's been so long. It was called Club Harambe. Straight 80s, 90s club. So it was a great party. We had a great time. And the funniest thing was Pete Rock wasn't known yet as a producer or a rapper. So I'm interviewing Pete just on the strength of being my boy from Mount Vernon from when I used to get my hair cut. And while I'm talking to him, Heavy D walks into the interview and he says, if Pete Rock wants to get a ride home, he better stop talking to Tuffy. And it was so incredible because it just showed what hip hop, there was no cares. So it's on camera, whatever. But that became a folklore that followed Pete around, that, you know, his cousin Hev would do that. But when Ralph aired the interviews, people were like, yo, he's funny, he's good, he's this. He got letters, he got calls. Even one of the supervisors at WNYC at the time was like, yo, that guy Tuffy was really great, you should have him on. And that's how Video Music Box happened for me. Just thinking I could have a birthday party.
How many episodes did you do?
Oh God, I did 1,000 over 11 years. And back then, we didn't even consider them episodes. You know, they were airings, and I'd shoot 5-6 days a week. Ralph would call me and be like, I can't make it to Queens, can you do this? So I'd jump over the bridge, I'd drive. You know, there was a party every night, the arena, the building, any club in New York, and then he'd be like, can you go to this school? I'm not coming to the Bronx, Tuffy, can you do that? I'd drive to Staten Island. Ralph was like, I'm not going. So I was shooting 5-6 days a week. That's why partying today is not the same to me. I had no choice. I was paid to go to parties back in the 90s.
So basically, when they would do these appearances, when you would pull up with the camera, the club would be paying y'all for coming?
Yeah, the club, because it's promotion for them. So the club would give Ralph, let's say, $1,500, and Ralph would pay his host $500, $700, depending upon where it was, the distance, the length of the party. And we were doing that, like I said, 5-6 days a week. So I was doing okay.
Yeah, always fair. He's treating you, word.
Yeah, and sometimes there was no check. Sometimes it was a record label thing, and it was really a favor for the record label. So Ralph would be like, nah, you're not going to get paid, but you're going to have a good time. They're going to take care of you. And that's how we get our plaques, you know, our industry plaques from the labels. So, I mean, it was all a small level of payola. Small.
Honest.
Yeah, it was gifting.
It's business.
Yeah, it was business, exactly.
And how long did Video Music Box air?
Well, it still airs today. It aired on Channel 31 for 15 years before the city sold the network. And then he moved to Channel 25, and I think he's still on 25 now. But it's been 40, we celebrated our 41st anniversary. No, that's wrong. Hip hop was 50, we celebrated 44 years. You know, we run congruent with Red Alert. So whatever Red Alert's anniversary is, it's our anniversary, yes. So I believe last year was 40, either 43 or 44. My brain is tired. But yeah, Ralph's been doing this a long time. And I started my first time was 91.
Interesting. Were you able to enjoy the music and the culture the same, do you think, as a fan? All right, let me rephrase this question.
Okay.
I enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? The way I seen growth in hip hop, right? But I probably would see it differently had I been working on the scene. Were you able to enjoy the growth of hip hop?
Yes. I've watched artists go from no money to money, from little opportunity to running the game. I have so many moments that I can remember, and I got to enjoy it from the inside. It wasn't always the same, and sometimes you were like, man, this artist sucks. They got an attitude problem. You know, I remember being on set with Method Man, and Method Man used to like to just lay money down and see if you'd return it to him. You know, and I wasn't mad at him for that. He did it to me on a set in Winnebago. He got up and left $200 bills on a chair, and I gave him back them $200 bills, and he was like, thanks, Tuff. But he was shaking his head because I had already heard that he did that, but it didn't bother me. It made me laugh. Today I would keep that money, but it was a different time. I was getting ready to mention something you said specifically. Thinking about hip hop, thinking about growth, there are moments that I can't get back, but we didn't always have the camera rolling. Like for instance, when KRS-One bum rushed the stage with Mark Fresh from PM Dawn and pushed him off the stage, I was there. And earlier in the evening when we got there at Sound Factory, KRS-One gave me a plastic bag. He was like, don't open that. And it had a little weight to it, so I wasn't sure if I was carrying something crazy, but I was holding it like it was mine. And he was like, and don't crush it, don't put it under your arm. So I didn't know what it was. So we waited and waited and waited until RoboCop and I think it was Kenny Parker ran up to the DJ booth. They got ready, they bum rush. And then KRS-One came, he grabbed the bag, he opened it. There was a bottle of water and a fresh Yankee fitted. And that's what he wore on stage. And then he basically took the stage, took the mic, kicked PM Dawn off, and rocked. And I'll never forget that. And I can't get that moment back, but I know it. I lived that. So I appreciated hip hop, and I appreciated the fact that, you know, MC Lyte, Latifah, these were friends. Latifah used to live in Co-op City. A lot of people don't even know that. Like, I played ball with her when I couldn't play ball in Co-op City, in Section 5 and in Section 4. Like there's a lot of family there. So I was blessed to be a part of it. I was blessed to have these stories. The first time I'm meeting Big Daddy Kane, the whole Biz Marquee, shooting all of those videos in the beginning of everything Cold Chillin' came through our office. So I was blessed to be a part of it. Yes, I loved him. Biz Marquee, Just a Friend. If you watch the music video, when you see his hands playing the piano, it's not him, it's me. Because he was acting foolish and he was hungry, so he decided he didn't want to shoot anymore, so he went to go eat. So they gave me his sweater and they put makeup on my hands, and it's my hands playing the piano in the music video because he just was like, I'm done. And he's funny about it. Come on, Ralph. I'm done, I'm hungry. It was hilarious.
Nice.
Like these are moments that I will always treasure.
I remember you bringing in quite a few celebrities to the neighborhood. Put on my fresh.
Free from In Touch. Put on my dress, can't believe that she said yes. That was my boy for years, man. Very close. I'm his son's godfather. But yeah, I mean, you know, that's family. So my family coming to the block to meet more family is what we're supposed to do. That's what community is based on, neighborhood stuff. I love that.
Would you like to speak a little bit about the commercials you've been in?
Yes, I've done.
Is it something we could talk about before that, Dro? You think of anything before that?
Done so much. I'm trying, you know what I'm
I
saying?
mean, I can just.
I'm over here stuck like a fan. Like I'm in you know what I'm saying? I'm on the carpet. You know what I'm saying? I'm riding the carpet. You know what I'm saying? It's good, baby.
I mean, okay, I'll give y'all. So I've been blessed to be not only casting films and commercials, but I've been in quite a few over the years. One of my favorites might be a Dunkin' Donuts commercial with Jermaine Dupri, and we were stuck in like a photomat booth. It was really, you know, someone was driving up for a game, and was 9 of us stuck in the security box, and Jermaine Dupri was taking tickets and charging people to get, parking spaces. But it was a great spot. It was a lot of fun. I've been blessed to do so many great commercials, so many great products that I've peddled and worked with and worked upon. I'm actually talking to Coca-Cola now about a couple things. We might have a future. Let's see how that goes. But I think that casting allows me to give actors and artists more opportunities. But of course, as an actor, I get to inspire myself, inspire my daughter, inspire our generation. But I've had the blessing, like I think about music videos like Poison for BBD, casting that and knowing that those 15, 16, and 20-year-old girls that we had, they're now 40-year-old women with children. Stuff like that really is a blessing to me because their kids are, of course, their kids are hilarious now. Why you put my mommy in that outfit? Why you got her shaking her butt on camera? Those kind of stories always make me laugh, but that I wasn't a choreographer. I gave her the job. What she did on camera was between her and the artist. But I laugh at that. Like I'm doing a wedding in 2 months of somebody who was a celebrity model. Her name is Denise Lawton. I shouldn't really say that, but y'all can edit this. She's getting married soon, and I'm singing and performing at her wedding. And a lot of people don't know this either. I'm actually an ordained minister. In order to marry people, I did that for some friends. I don't talk about it too much, but it is what it is. God is good. There's so much to talk about. What are you thinking? What's next? Did I answer a lot? Too much?
Not at all. Very good. I can't see from here, Ron. Can you see it?
No, I thought you was gonna leave it. Why you adjust
Is it focused?
It was already focused.
I think we all high.
Okay, I got
Gary.
like who new in the game are you like, that you can mention or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. New artist.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
All right, as soon as they're ready.
Yeah, I'm over here all starstruck. I never get starstruck.
Bruh, I love you. We family.
Man, word up. You helped me do this.
And the funny thing is, you ain't starstruck on me. You starstruck on the lifestyle that we've lived.
It's been fun.
That's the reality of it. We're still here.
It's not like today where everything is recorded and documented and you're getting stuff in real time. You have to hear it through the grapevine.
Right.
Or something.
Right.
This is the only way we can share it. You know what I'm saying?
And listen, so much has happened over the years. Like Jimmy was talking about having the Thule and the can you say Thule anymore?
Thule.
Having when you had the
hammer?
the hammer, when you had that in the club, there were days when I would go to the tunnel and security was new because they would change security, so no one had juice. But I knew security all over New York. So every time they changed security, it was somebody I knew. So there were times I wouldn't get searched going to the club. So I'd carry like 15 hammers and have to hand them back out, either to cops or to the bad guys. It didn't matter, because I knew them both. It was Brooklyn, it was Queens, sorry. It was so funny that I remember one time being in the tunnel and I literally had to almost tag the amount of guns in my pocket. Like I had 3 in here and I remember who they were, and Pete gave me something, a 45, it was too big, but I had on, just crazy stories that I literally could not believe that many cats were carrying. But it was either cops, and they could wear their shield, but they couldn't carry their gun, which is weird to me, but that was back in the days. You were allowed to come into the club. You can carry your shield as identification, but they wouldn't let you come in with the gun unless you were working with security. But I would carry people's pieces in all the time. And I remember trying to give somebody the wrong gun once.
Wait a minute. You saying you gave the guns back out once they got inside?
Yeah.
Posse from the Bronx is deep.
That's how we
went there because
protected
Tuffy was there, not for the chicks, just because Tuff was there.
It was easy to get in. Club 2G's was always a dangerous club. So if you didn't get in with your gun to protect yourself, just in case, because 2G's was a mix of the Dominicans, all the Latinos, Uptown, all the Brooklyn thieves was there. I mean, 2G's was a different time, was a different world in New York.
It was Club 2G.
Club 2G's was in Washington Heights. It was one of the only clubs in Washington Heights. It was right off 155th.
B-Way.
Yeah, man, right on Broadway. 156, I believe. No. Up
57.
157, 156. One of those two blocks. And it was amazing. Club 2G's was crazy. Flex had it all the time. And it was this dude who used to own Rolex in Miami. That was his, I forget, I should know his name. It's just my brain. Rashid? No, Sheik, whatever his name was. He ran that joint. And he got ran out of New York because Cash was tired of giving money to somebody who said he was from Brooklyn, but he really wasn't. He was paying Brooklyn to protect him. It was the time.
What year was this?
Late 90s going into early 2000s, so it was probably 97, I'd say. Yeah, that's about right.
2G Club 2G's 89.
Was it that far back?
80, yeah, because when we all rolled down there with Black Sheep and them.
89? It feels like it's later 90s, but I could be wrong.
89 is early, bro.
Yeah, 89 is mad early. That's
Not
before I forget Music Box.
89 is early.
Club 2G's kept rocking that.
I think Club 2G's opened in 93 and became popular because Flex wasn't hip hop like that yet.
Flex was still doing up here on what, 233rd?
Yeah, the spot by the fireplace, by the firehouse.
By the firehouse.
Yeah. And that's when I remember when he was DJ George. He wasn't Funkmaster Flex yet.
That's his government is George?
I remember when he used to carry records for Chuck Chilla.
Chuck Chilla.
Yeah, man. I mean, New York was a different time. It was back then. You could walk the streets and run into anybody. I remember seeing Nipsey Russell every day on 57th Street when I worked at Motown. I would walk up to get food and he'd be out there just chilling on a cut, having a cup of coffee or whatever, and I'll be walking by, hey! New York was a different time. New York was fun. You could walk through the village and bump into everybody on TV. You could bump into an opportunity. It was great. New York used to be the melting pot for the entire industry. Film, television, commercial, industrial, arts, fashion, it didn't matter.
What's the state of film in New York now?
It's a little harsh after the strike last year. The strike of 2023 changed New York. It changed the work line, and the worst part is because the industry saw how actors taking a pause can affect everybody's money. The industry now is taking a lot of that money back by cutting off shows early. A lot of shows about blacks and Hispanics, anybody non-white, a lot of those shows are being canceled. They're not getting renewals, they're not getting lengthy contracts, and they're trying to start new shows so that way they don't have to pay the exorbitant amounts of money that they're giving people. I mean, look at a show like Blue Bloods, 14 seasons. Could be a 15th season, but if they cut it off, they don't have to pay those big numbers anymore. You just heard Terrence Howard talking about he has a show, or he did a project where they had 48 million viewers, and the next closest show had 11 million, but the guys with 11 million made 5 times what the black artists were making on the show that Terrence Howard was on. It's just crazy. Like, he's suing right now for $120 million, and I hope he gets it.
How does it look? Has anybody been following the case?
Yeah, I mean, it's the fact that they're posting about it shows, because the one thing the industry doesn't like is embarrassment. They'll fight you in court, but they don't like the embarrassment. So there's a lot going on with that case right now. They need to start paying not just women their wage, but people of color their wage. They can't just, you can't have people like the guys from Friends all getting $1 million an episode, $2 million an episode, $4 million an episode, and ridiculous residuals. And another show like In Living Color and Living Single, and shows that made shows like Friends possible, $100,000 an episode if they're lucky. It's really more like $40,000 or less. They've been paying us less, and they keep paying us less. And we have to that's why I'm not saying we should all join Tyler Perry, but we should all be Tyler Perry's. Have our own production companies, our own equipment, like you guys are doing. Got to start somewhere.
guess that's why they're getting all the talents coming from England. You notice that?
Yeah, and they do us better than we do us.
It's crazy, right?
Mm-hmm. I sat with David. I can never say Eloeo. I can never say his last name right. He's got the remake of the Outlaw. Not Jesse James.
Josie Bob.
No, I like that though. And then I heard about a remake of that coming out too.
That's gonna be crazy.
That's gonna be phenomenal. Oh.
More good.
But this dude has I think the show is called Outlaw. It's on Amazon, I believe. And he's playing
Yes.
the role of the brother. My brain is tired. We did a movie. Delroy Lindo played the role in The Harder They Fall, and he's doing the same thing. He's a brother who was who the Lone Ranger was based on.
Bass Reeves.
Bass Reeves, thank you. My brain froze on that.
Bass Reeves is the actor.
No, David is playing Bass Reeves in this show. Bass Reeves was the cowboy, the black cowboy that the Lone Ranger is based on. So the Lone Ranger wasn't a white guy with a white horse. It was a black guy who was real, and a real Texan cowboy and a real badass. But so many of our stories are retold and repurposed by the white community and white historians, which is why we're having such issues with CRT and DEI and all the craziness of the world. But that's politics. Y'all don't want to do politics. We'll be here forever.
The CRT.
Why did my brain just freeze on that?
Sounds like something I should know, but I can't.
It is. Why can't I remember? CRT. No, it's oh my God, my brain really just froze. It's black people. It's oh my God, I'm high. I really
Like that much, though.
sorry, I'm old. CRT is I'm high. I literally lost my train of thought. I can't hear it.
Good weed.
The weed was good. Y'all did that. Thank you very much. I'm about to ask Siri. Siri, can you hear me? I have it on airplane mode, so it won't respond.
You got something you want to ask?
Creative race theory. See,
Oh, right. Oh,
critical race theory. My brain it
What
was
was
trying.
the other one you said?
DEI,
What's that?
which is diversity diversity, equity, which is hiring of people of color.
Okay.
Instead of just hiring.
And inclusion, diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is white companies are supposed to hire people of color.
Like affirmative action.
Right, affirmative action, and that's why, and they're turning that out now. They're trying to get rid of it. They're saying, as a matter of fact, how about the fact that they're suing some school that has the George Floyd scholarship? They're suing them, saying that that's against white people. It's against everybody who's not black, because it's a scholarship that's supposed to be for a black person.
Excluded, right.
So they're saying it's exclusion, and they're suing the school to get rid of it. That's crazy. They probably will. That's the sad part.
Tell me a little bit about casting. I didn't know, before you go into the casting you're doing these days, tell me about the casting of those rap videos, since I didn't realize that you were the casting director?
Yes, sir.
Casting director?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you will work hand in hand with the video director or with the DP?
Both. Mostly with the director. The director had the vision. The DP was mostly to create the director's vision. But back then it was a hand in hand. We had production meetings like we do now, but we had a smaller staff and a lot more to create. So we had to bring in talent. We had to bring in, we had to make sure that the choreography was right for the talent. Like I remember specifically having conversations, with different choreographers and different fashion folks because outfits had to fit accordingly. We had to constantly have rebranding conversations. I remember doing the Glory video, and my sister Cheryl produced that, and D Nice wanted a specific outfit from Dapper Dan, and when Cheryl and D Nice got to Harlem, Dap didn't have the outfit ready, so they had to jump in another cab and run down to Delancey Street to get the coat. The MCM. It was. I think that it wasn't. I don't think it was an MCM suit he wore. I think it was a leather suit. But by the time they got the coat and got all the stuff together, they jumped back in the cab to go back to set, and because we were just setting up lighting and setting up. It was a club and then the outside exterior. But those were some powerful times, and New York was different then. So casting back then, I remember shooting a video for Newkirk. And he wanted all these girls, and we got a bunch of them. We were shooting exteriors, and it ended up raining that night. But the worst part of it was I stayed in the office, and they wanted his car because his car was just colorful. But it was way uptown where I was by the office, and I don't drive stick. I burnt out his clutch all the way down to Canal Street from 44th Street. I burned it out all the way. And for years, he'd be like, "Yo, you still owe me $800. And I was like, $800 for a clutch? What's wrong with you? You need a better car. Like, we make jokes, and when he passed last year, his sister was like, he still talks about that. I was like, yeah.
What's his name again?
Donald Newkirk. He was the first. Don Newkirk was the first Maxwell. He was the first hip hop weirdo on Def Jam back in the days. Don Newkirk, man. Lot of fun.
Did he actually put out an album?
Yeah. We shot 2 of his music videos. Don Newkirk was, I can't tell you any of his songs right now because my brain's not there, but you can find him. He was on Def Jam, and he kind of reminds you of Mint Condition. If Mint Condition was hip hop, but that's a weird ideology. But
he was in.
Wasn't he in the third base video?
He was part of third base, yeah.
Yeah. In third base's video, but I had never seen. I never saw him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I remember the video.
Yeah, I think there's 3 songs that they definitely released. I remember shooting 2 videos for him. But it was funny. He was dope. He was a great producer. I think he was also in Large Professors, the barbecue. I think he was in that one. We shot so many videos back then. I mean, I could tell you videos all day long. We did everything for Coachella. I was up in the Adirondacks when we shot Symphony. And a lot of stuff happened on that trip. I shot Jodeci videos, the whole first album. I remember we put Stevie Wonder in a parachute, which was hilarious. That was in California. We shot Steezo in Connecticut. We went to Philly and shot everybody there from.
Which was that Steezo video?
Oh Lord.
Which one was that?
Was it? We had a helicopter. The dancers. We was down on the West Side Highway, and I can't remember the song.
So a lot of these videos, your sister was producing them?
Yeah. If she wasn't producing it, we had 3 producers at the time. It was Cheryl Questell, Sabrina Gray, and actually 4. Sorry, Gina, Kia, and Kim Ogletree. We have 5 all female producers. And then Ralph McDaniels and Lionel Martin were directing and producing.
What did producing encompass back then?
But budgets, and securing the deal with the record label. They had to. They basically were the liaison between the record label, the client, and the artist back then. But they also allotted the checks. Crewed up. They hired the entire crew. Producers were always the boss. They were like the chef. They hired all the sous chefs, all the smaller guys, but they were the chef in the kitchen. Producers were always that. And they also signed the checks. You wanted them to sign your check. And I will give. The name of the company was Classic Concept Productions. I will give them that. Checks never bounced. They might have showed up late, but they never bounced.
Classic Concept.
Yeah. Classic, and we were in the same office. with super producer Salam Remy and his dad. I mean, you know, Van Gibbs. So we did a lot of great things in that office on 44th Street.
The producer Salam Remy's dad was a producer?
Yeah, Van Gibbs was a music producer. He had all the reggae, all the artists were his people. Like, I remember when Teddy Pendergrass came to his office in a wheelchair, like craziness. Like, he knew everybody. You'd be sitting in his office and Diana Ross would call. Like, Van was that man. He was that man. He knew everybody and everybody knew him. And he's still around. I think he just celebrated his, I want to say 77th birthday or something like that. Salam Remy's a king of art, music. He's the reason why we know who Amy Winehouse is. Real people. Real good producers too.
What you up to nowadays?
Still casting and acting. What am I up to nowadays? I'm still acting, still casting. I just shot an episode of Blue Bloods for season 14. I'm in the first episode. Thank you. I'm just whatever they let me do. I'm shooting some commercial stuff this week, some commercial photography stuff this week. I'm still acting, still casting. As I spoke to you earlier, I'm working on a couple TV shows. I got a script that I really believe in. We have a few projects, but this one particular project I really believe in that I'm not going to talk about until we complete the pilot at least. But I would love to bring your audience in, whatever they want to do. Give everybody an opportunity. We are also doing, I told you I'm an author. I have 2 books. I'm finishing up my second book now, 2 children's books. But I'm going to do a script about what New York was for the 90s. I just haven't decided the premise, but I'm working with a couple different producers, and Hype Williams is part of the project.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, man.
That sounds very, very nice.
I mean, we need that story told. It's not just about what was on TV, but the streets was alive back then. And it wasn't all drugs. We did a lot of things. We got models, we got actors, we got artists, we got creatives, we got young people who were on skateboards. I know a dude who made up all the lying rules for playing basketball, like this thing called One Hand Mall. I mean, you know, I played with sports figures back then. You know, the Bronx was alive with a lot of things. I see you laughing. Tell me more.
One Hand Mall.
The One Hand Mall is still one of my favorite stories to tell. I loved this guy, Jimmy Gilchrist. He was one of the most dopest cats in the hood.
Playing on the monkey bars.
And we were playing on the monkey bars, and he made up a call and said it was One Hand Mall, and I was like,
Because you kept on dunking on me. I couldn't get the rebound. You was boxing me out. You just kept on just catching the rebound and throwing that shit in.
It was easy. It was what was it? 2 steps from the bench, 2 steps.
Now that shit is One Hand Mall, my nigga.
One Hand Mall, and I had to, and we didn't have the internet, so I couldn't look it up. So, and every time I tried to ask my father, he'd be like, "What is that? Get away!" Like he wouldn't answer me. So for that must have ran for that summer.
A while. I couldn't take it. Yeah, after a while, I was like, I can't do this, man.
Yo,
I made it up.
We made it up.
Like,
Never forget that.
I think I heard you call that shit on somebody else. I was like, nah. I can't do that to my man. Yeah,
One Hand Mall.
That mauling me on your motherfucking car.
And it's lived forever. We're still talking about it 40 years later. That's the craziest creation, man. You were the first creative, my dude. You're the James Brown of the playground.
I ain't gonna keep you too much longer. We getting hungry. Ron, you got a question? You got anything you would like to ask something?
I was gonna ask you, Touch. I'd like to hear another story of something that you might have missed on camera.
Oh wow. Oh yeah, things that weren't on camera. Well, you know, I mentioned Symphony. I'm sure you've all heard the story. If you haven't heard the story about there was a shooting on a bus on the way upstate to the Adirondacks, and I'm not gonna point fingers at who did it, but I will say I know where the gun was buried. It was a .22, so it was easy to bury. And I will say that certain production assistants drove into a tree and pushed that tree back and buried that little trigger. And with some rope and 3 Chevy trucks, we were able to put the tree right back where it belonged.
They were thinking outside the box.
Outside the box. Bruh, I can't, so many things happened over the years. So many beautiful moments that are folklore in hip hop. You know, I remember being on set with BWP, which is Bitches with Problems. That was Hype's first music video that he directed.
Eazy-E's crew.
Yeah. They were down with Eazy-E. That's funny, a lot of people don't remember
They
that.
had the mink coats on with the bathing suits with the gold chains with the shades.
They was the finesse and sick quest of hip hop for New York for sure, or from the West Coast originally. But yeah, I mean, we have so many stories, so many moments. I remember being in Long Island with De La Soul. I remember going to set for so many videos. You know, everything Red Alert was doing, BDP. I'm, you know, missing Scott LaRock. You know, watching. I remember doing Self-Destruction and shooting. Sorry, I remember. Thank you. I remember shooting Self-Destruction in Harlem. Like, matter of fact, if you go to the making of, you see me in it because I was the first AD for that project, as well as the casting director. And I remember the day we had to shoot, it was my job to pick up Flavor Flav from the hotel, and he was staying at the Milford on 8th Avenue, and he wouldn't answer the door. So I had to go into, I parked my car on the sidewalk in front of the Milford Hotel, the Milford Plaza, and I got the head of security, and I was like, listen, Flavor called me, I think something might be wrong. We have a doctor on standby on 12th Street. So I got him to go and open the door, and the reason Flavor wouldn't open the door is because he had 3 white girls from Denmark. So I had to give them all $10 to get in the cab and go home, and I had to get him showered and dressed to bring him to set. You know, stuff like that.
I used to see him with Bridget Nielsen over there.
Loved her, yes, hilarious. And that's the restaurant I was talking about that Michael Wright's family owned, Jezebel. Thank you. So many good days, man. Shark Bar, Jezebel.
Good food.
Great food, great
Shark
times,
Bar.
great stories.
So this is you taking advantage of the perks of the business while you were working it?
I was working. I didn't get a chance to indulge in any of those perks. I had to send girls home and make them get dressed from hotels. I remember driving artists home after set because when you work for a small production company, everybody is any position. So I casted a video. The name of the artist was Allison somebody. She was with Hush Records, which was Melba Moore's label. I forgot the name of the song, but Carl Payne, who was Cockroach on The Cosby Show, was her leading man in the video. And we shot at a school on 2nd Avenue. I remember driving them home, driving through the tunnel. I was so sleepy, but they were all asleep in the car. I did a 180 because I literally fell asleep, but thank God my foot was on the brake, not on the gas. I did a 180. The artist herself was like, okay, I'm driving the rest of the way home. She drove, and it was like a station wagon truck. I don't even know, maybe a Wagoneer back in the days. I can't even remember what it was. But it was a rental, and we drove to her house, and we all stayed over. She had a big house in Jersey. And the next morning, she woke us up with breakfast. It was beautiful. Me, Carl Payne, my assistant, who was a casting assistant. We all stayed in her house, and she had a room for all of us. Moments like that you can't get back. Artists today don't have those kind of relationships. And I know you also asked me, what artists today do I like or find interesting? Like that whole J. Cole and Kendrick conversation. You could take Kendrick and Drake and do whatever you want with them and just give me J. Cole. J. Cole is dope. I think he gets it. I think musically he's saying it all. I have nothing against Kendrick or Drake. And this conversation might be a year ago at this point, but it was what it was. I think that what we're missing is artistry. I think so many of these artists today don't get that. They don't have A&R, which is artists and repertoire. They don't have anyone giving them direction. So they don't have a purpose beyond the bag. And the bag is not enough. The bag is not enough.
Almost for sure, they don't have A&R for these new artists.
Yeah, the labels have gone away.
And see if you have a following on social media, you're popping.
Yep.
Enough to warrant you a deal.
That's it. They're chasing temporary. They're chasing the trend, and the trends don't always show dividends. You know, before we had an Amazon, you know, we had the community board. People would be like, I have this, I'm trying to get rid of this. It'd be up on the bulletin board. That's what we used to have. We didn't have the internet. You know, I remember a time before the internet, before Google. How much of your audience remembers World Book Encyclopedia, Britannica? We all had encyclopedias because somebody came to our door and sold us $50 a book.
They don't have to write script in school anymore. They don't teach them cursive.
Right, no cursive. Like they're misrepresented. They taught us stuff that we didn't need to know. So we have useless information in our brains from when we were kids. And today's kids, their useless information is the internet because they give them whatever they believe, whatever social media trends matter. You know, my mother doesn't understand. Everything on Google is not true. You gotta do your own research. The sad part is, where's the research now? The libraries aren't what they used to be. The encyclopedias don't exist. There's no such updated encyclopedia. There's an online encyclopedia called Google.
Yeah.
And YouTube. That's why we got to keep documenting everything we can, because we're going to save the future. We're the new library. We're the living library. We've lived this.
Well, Tuff, I'm not going to keep you too much longer. I appreciate you pulling up from our first, you know what I'm saying?
Wait, real quick, fashion models
Fashion models. What about it?
or Victoria's Secret models? Who had the better models?
That's a hard question. I would probably say fashion models because they got realer people. Victoria's Secret models were always too pretty to be true. They were edited before editing was important. I think fashion models will always be a presence that we need. And mostly because they got them from the street. They got real people to show great clothing lines and great ideas. When I think back to fat fashions, you know, Fubu's start, you know, April Walker and even Misa, you know, so many people who created, June Ambrose, who created fashion and gave fashion what it was, but we still bend to, you know, the bigger names. You know, when you think about, you watch a movie like The Wiz from back in the days, and they had Bill Blass, and they had, you know, these huge names, Houston's, you know, all these big names. Those are classic names. Hilfiger are classic names. Polo, classic names. But if it wasn't for what we did with hip hop in the 90s, Gucci, you know, Louis Vuitton, they wouldn't have the world the way they do. Fashion models changed the game. And fashion icons like a Dapper Dan, like a April Walker, like a Misa Hilton, like a June Ambrose, Carl Kanai, Willie Esco, they changed the game. They changed the game. Mark Echo, I still got a pair of Mark Echo shorts. I've had to sew them 850 times, but I still love those shorts, my favorite. And he also had little pockets and hidden spots. I love that. That was that white boy skater thing. No, Mark Echo hasn't made clothes in years. He still lives in Jersey. He's an hour away right now from where we are, I'm sure, without traffic.
No Joke had the good shirts too.
Listen.
Good animation.
I love that, and I also loved AACA, African American College Alliance.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of, you know, Benetton wasn't made for us, but we wore it. You know, we changed the game. Hip hop, New York, the streets changed the game. Like Philly Blunts, I still love that hoodie.
Mecca, Maurice
Mecca.
Malone.
Come on, Maurice Malone.
OGs.
That's OGs, and OGs did it right.
Verso.
Killed
Original Vamp line.
Wow.
What was that Chinese kid's name?
He was the shit too.
He was the dude from Zoo York's boy. My brain's tired.
Another Nietzsche.
And Nietzsche's another line. Forgot about that. Yeah, there was so many.
Yeah, that was a crazy time.
Yeah, and I wore one hand more.
All right, we gonna wrap this up. Thank you so much, Tuffy.
Anytime, anything, whatever y'all need.
For real.
You know how we do. We can talk all day.
I'm thinking about doing something right in front of the building. Get you by the Story Avenue sign and the pigeons that's over there. Say something there. I'll probably throw that in front.
Whatever you need.
By the building.
We can do this whole thing outside. We can do whatever you want. Listen, you know me. I'm a phone call.
All right.
If you can't find me, come on,
Give
man.
it up.